Prancer or Sierre. So what doing at the moment is just trying to figure out what's the best way to go about inputting in that built-in grandstand at the back of the green. So right now, I've already attempted before starting this video back up again to try and sculpt it um, into the ground using the tiers, and then maybe try to tidy that up, which didn't look very tidy. Looked very kind of all over the place, and definitely not something I wanted to kind of leave as being kind of a polished version of it. There was nothing polished about it. It was just very untidy. So what I'm opting to do right now is I'm looking to use retaining walls. Basically the walls that you'd normally see being used for lakes and ponds and stuff like that as borders. I'm going to try and use it to build my grandstand. So essentially what I'm going to do is the wooden part's obviously going to be the lining of it, and then the little piece of land that comes along with the wooden panel just to fill in the gap, I'm going to use as my step. So I'm using the snap-on feature. The reason for using the snap-on feature is simply because of making sure I get everything aligned. It's the easiest process. I can always come back and tidy things up later on, but right now this is a pretty straightforward process for putting this together. Okay, so this is kind of the slightly monotonous side to course design. There's an awful lot of repetition in this. I've also chosen to go very, very short with the length of water retaining walls that I'm using, and that's just simply because it can create a more fluid um, curve as opposed to having the slightly longer ones, which makes everything just look very brick and square like, and again, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that just gives a nice round edge to hopefully capture this grandstand as realistic as I possibly can. And now I do know things are going to get a little bit harder the further we move out, because we'll have less to work against. But again, by using that snap and trying to keep things aligned with the previous row, I think we could definitely make a good job of it. So I'm also just going to make sure you're all aware I'm not exactly the greatest designer in the world, not by a long shot, but definitely getting better with every one that I've done so far. Like I've done 2, 3, 4, 3. I've attempted 4 different Irish RCRs. Druids Glen was the first one I did. Again, was a bit more excited about getting to play it after I was done, as opposed to being excited about nailing it, and really just really threw up a bit of a crappy version of the course. I know some people liked it, and people are still playing it to this day, but it was very, very poorly executed, very poorly sculpted. Everything was just unfinished about it. There was nothing. I mean, there was positives, but there was nothing too great to say about it. Being very, very honest with myself. Um, then I did Adair Manor again. I think that was just a bit of a sculpting mess. When I really wanted to do well, but just again, I didn't make use of all the tools I had at the time. And it's definitely one I'm hoping to come back to eventually. I tried to come back to it before, but that was in around the time the designer was having a few issues of its own. So I basically kind of left it to one side. The next course I went on to there was to Ballybunion, which is a relatively famous Irish links course down the coast of Kerry. I was really looking forward to getting that one done. It's pretty much done. I mean, there's a beta version of it technically ready, but there was just a few things I wanted to get done before getting people to test it, and then it just crept in with an awful lot of issues. I was blue screening the whole time, so just it didn't make the process very fun. It's essentially still sitting there waiting. I haven't come back to it yet. Um, I'm thinking eventually I'll get back there and have the opportunity to finish that one off, but at the moment it's pretty much just sitting there waiting. So that was the third one, and the fourth then one was the old head. So the old head is probably it's definitely my favorite. It's one that I can definitely say is the best course I've done so far. Absolutely spectacular golf course in real life, regardless of the attempt I made to recreate it. Basically based out on the cliffs of Cork, on a peninsula. So it's pretty much It's like an island essentially, surrounded by water on nearly all sides. Absolutely breathtaking. So it's definitely worth checking that one out. Um, I know a couple of the guys have reviewed it in their channels, and a couple of societies have played it. But I definitely think that if there's one course of mine that you play in, I actually think you completely enjoy. Definitely go for the old head. That is before I'm done with this one, of course. Um, Definitely looking forward to this. It's the first time kind of stepping out and doing a big course and a very well known golf course. For any of you who are not aware, this is the home of the Omega European Masters and the European Tour. Has been for I think it's been on the European schedule for the bones of 40 years at this stage, um, which just kind of goes to show that if they keep coming back to this course year in year out, that it's it is that way for a reason. So I'm just hoping I can do it justice. Um, so yeah, just having a bit of fun with it. I think also before it was hosting the European Tour, I think it was on like a Swiss tour, and it has been on that for the bones of um, back in the 1930s. So quite a long time. Okay, so I think we're approaching about halfway on this circle. So like the circles themselves are not going to be um, they're not going to be it's not going to be a full circle or even maybe a semicircle at all. It's literally just going to be a portion of it, and the problem is that because it all moves in towards the green, there needs to be enough room at the back of the green for any shots that go long. So that's one thing I'm also making sure to pay attention to, is that I don't bring the grandstand itself too close to the green, because we still have the water to play with. Um, Plenty there to give consideration to. Okay, so this is where things are going to get a little bit interesting now, because this is where we start to come away from that wall. I didn't plan this one out overly well, but to be honest, I'd spent so much time trying to get the circle perfect. I decided I wasn't going to bother going back to get the height of that one up further. But we're going to go with this, and like I said, we have the snap on, so we can see exactly what's going on. Do, do, do. The handy thing as well is that I can kind of line it up with the ground beneath as well, just to make sure that I'm at least moving it in the right direction. Also hoping this doesn't go crazy on the meter there, because like if you've designed before, you know well about the yellow bar meter that runs up there along it's the moment towards the top left hand side of the screen. Um, that is basically your plant meter, which is how much stuff you're kind of allowed to put in the course. Now, with consoles, it's a little different because it just can't handle some of the more heavier planted courses. So it is just one thing I've had to be cautious about when designing, especially I think it was at Ballybunion was pretty much where I ran into that issue. I think I went a little bit too far and maybe planted a little bit too much and then multi-planted, which is just basically like trees and grass and stuff, a little bit too much in some areas, and I think that's what may have sparked a few of those errors. So I'm definitely not going to turn around and blame HB, although I feel like if you're going to have a multi-plant feature, it should work, but I'm going to call that one on myself, knowing that the consoles aren't as resilient as we would like them to be. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little bit of the grandstand as I'm continuing to work away at it here. What I'm also going to do is maybe get a little bit into this move towards playing around. So I have definitely have one or maybe two rounds to play at um, the WGC Bridgestone Invitational at Firestone. So that's on my own society RCR tour. So if you're on PS4 and you haven't checked it out, definitely worth a check out. We run pretty much season back to back. Tend to run off a mixed PGA Tour, European Tour schedule. Run it through the calendar year, so everything is kind of runs into the other. It is kind of as a schedule would run, based on a top European player, basically. Play all real courses. Sometimes we'll have courses on on tour that don't have the same name as um, what they have in real life, but that's just because maybe one or two people have made little edits to it, or some people just feel like it was a good recreation, but maybe didn't live up to the name as much as they thought it would, and therefore kind of felt it was an insult to call it um, by its real name, basically. Um, so that does happen from time to time. The most notable one I think is the K Club. The best version of that in there is a course called Dunholm Manor, but if you know Irish courses or you know the K Club, you'll spot it straight away that it is, of course, an RCR and not a fantasy course. So there are some changes again if you know the course. It's the 10th hole, has a stream I think running in front of it, which is a bit random, but again, like you said, maybe the designer just wanted to add a little bit to it, and by doing so then couldn't go and call it the K Club because essentially it wasn't. So that does happen from time to time. Bam bam bam. Okay, what I might do as well is I might just once I've done the top part, so we're definitely well over halfway, so we're gonna get to, let's go for a bit more. What I might do is just take you around the course a little bit and um, just show you some of the recent ones I've been working on. So I know there's been quite a few videos have gone up of um, the front nine, which I've covered pretty well. So what I might do is just show you what I've been working on the back nine so far. So at the moment I'm on the 13th hole, which means that roughly the first 12 holes are done. They're done to an early beta standard, so they're not 100% finished. You'll definitely be able to spot things straight away that are a bit off. Footpaths not edited properly. Maybe you might find some trees in random areas, stuff like that. That'll all come eventually. Just, I suppose, a little bit of time needed to polish that kind of stuff up. Okay, so just want to make sure we haven't gone too far. So I just want to kind of pull this back in a little bit. Make sure we don't start going off track with this a little bit, because that was the whole point of using the snap, was to try and keep things as accurate as possible. track a little bit here. Do, do. Anyone with a slow connection is definitely gonna. They're not gonna like me at the end of this anyway because this hole is probably gonna be probably the most planted hole in the course, just because of this. Um, I wish there was an easier way to do it, but this is kind of what we're left at right now, is to go ahead and use the retaining walls. So what I'm going to try to do is maybe not create as many tiers as originally. Like I was looking at 8 to 10 tiers, but I might try and keep that to like a 6 or something. Um, just simply because that's an awful lot of planting going on, and especially when I still have, let's see, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 holes left to go. There's some prioritizing with background to look at. Like I've the background of the, I think is it the seventh, the eighth, the fourth, the second. I mean, there's just quite a substantial amount of areas that could be filled in. I'm not going to get around to all of them. That's another thing I tend to do with my designing is I just prioritize my planting, what actually needs to be a part of this, and if it's not a part of it, um, is it going to affect how it looks? So that's basically what I need to weigh up. And to be honest, this grandstand gets priority over all of them because it is so iconic. Okay, so how are we looking so far? Not the perfect semicircle, but it's good. Um, Probably need to come down a bit further on both sides. And then this way by a couple anyway. See what I'll be doing as well as I can be using the previous circle then to line up the next one. So if I decide to, let's see, just unsnap it there. I can come out and then I can use maybe that much room there for a step. And then just do the same then, just snap it all the way around so that it gets that kind of a semicircle and again creates that step down. But again, that's the next tier which we're not worried about right now. Okay. So we're nearly done. I think we said we come down as far as here. I'm just gonna do a quick check on that now. Yes, they're kind of level at the moment. Just bring it down. Gonna add on. Maybe add on 5 more. Okay, so do do it's this one, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so sorry for the silence there. Just taking a quick look here. Sometimes I forget that I'm streaming and I just tend to get wrapped up in what I'm looking at. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just taking a look at the content that I have and just trying to get a good feel for where the grandstand is essentially going to finish. So, well, we have started a bit further back, and I think that's just to allow a little bit of room. Um, Based on that, I think maybe if we went another five each side, we might be able to add that up. So it's another five. It's five, four, three, two, and one. So it's one, two, it's three, it's four, that's five. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. Tee off back here. Did okay. Yeah, that's looking pretty good from there. Um, so just if you're not aware of what this hole is, or you've never really paid attention to Grand Sierre that much. So what this is it's a relatively long, actually, slightly uphill par three. Works in at about 200 and 200 to the center. Yeah, pretty much 200 to the center. Um, Up little hills, so we've about 20, 25 feet. Yeah, about 25 feet up. So there's definitely enough of a club difference in that. What you have then is you have a built-in grandstand here at the back, which I'm working on. Um, just building that into the back of the green. You'll find that in a tiered, excuse me, in a tiered fashion at the back. Which so that'll come down to hopefully in around here, and then we'll have the side onto the green there. What you'll also have is a stream, or not a stream, sorry, a pond. It's going to form in here, which will stream then down on the side here into another pond down here. That will then again stream all the way down and into the lower pond here, which is back on the 12th green. Okay, um, so how that stream is going to get down to 13th, first of all, is it actually starts back. Where are we? There's the 10th. Okay, so this is the 10th hole, which I've shown in a couple of my videos beforehand. So this is the start of it. The pond starts here, and we're going to stream just all the way down here. Again, there's rocks and everything's going to need to be filled in here. So beyond here, then we're going to go down to cut in front of the partition and the 17th fairway. So you shouldn't really be reaching here. I mean, you get a favourable wind and stuff like that, you can push it down here far enough, but you don't really want to be flirting with that water there at 340. Although again, like I said, it needs the biggest of hits just to get there. The danger is though that the water does and will tie in here along the left hand side. So it's going to come in and it's going to come down from the left hand side of the green and into the stream here. Or into the pond, I should say. So that's how that's going to work. We have, as you can see, the 14th hole back here. So obviously we need a little bit of adjusting to do there. That was done already. Okay, that's another hole, another problem. We don't need to be worrying about that today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to get started on let's get started on the second part just to see how it's going to work for itself, really. Okay. So let's go back to create add, subjects, global, to snap this off, and the reason why is we're going to now need to bring the height down. So okay. Right, so we've got the first one planted in there. Now it's just time to turn the snap on. And get to work. So the key here is just to follow that flow of the tier just above it. And from there we should be able to replicate another pretty decent semicircle around. Now, as I said, I wish we could go a little faster with this, but it is what it is, and you know, these are the things that have to be done in order to create the courses you want. Wish I could get a proper overhead view of that, just to see exactly how it's bending. Okay, so starting to head into the nice bit of a bend here. Okay, it looks somewhat decent, but I suppose it's just hard to picture when it's still not done. Okay, so hoping we can fly through this one a bit quicker, just to see how it looks in full. Do, do, do. Okay, so if you've just joined us, just to let you know we're in the middle of the course designer here working on the 13th hole at Sierre. So what we're trying to figure out at the moment is the best method of um, building in that grandstand at the very back. And I think we've got a pretty good method here. It's just about trying to stay as accurate as we can. So again, hoping not to create too much of a gap here. It looks like one's starting to form, so I'm going to try and correct that out. Make sure we kind of maintain that. Um, okay, nearly halfway. A little bit more to go. So what I'm obviously going to have to do is, as you can see there, I having everything flattened out. I just gave myself a good template to work off there with the 14 feet in. So what I'm obviously going to be doing is, as soon as um, the overall built-in grandstand is done, what I can do then is just flatten out that land and bring it up a little bit higher, and that way then we can merge it and gel it in with the 14, because I know that T-box does need to come up a little bit, um, just with all the elevation changes and stuff like that. Um, some areas just had to be flattened out, so that just needs a bit of raising again. Okay. What's up, guys? The dogs are acting very strange at the moment. I just decided to get up and scatter across the room looking for something God only knows what at this stage. Um, seems to have chilled out now. So like I said, gonna at least get the first two rows done. Um, After that point, then what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna go play around the golf. I haven't just with the amount I've been putting into this course at the moment. I haven't played an awful lot of rounds lately. Definitely well off the standard I usually play at. Again, that's not an excuse um, at all. I know the reasons why, and it's simply just not playing enough. Um, so hopefully, I'll get an opportunity to play around after this, and maybe post a decent score for once. I've been outside the top 10 the last couple of events, which is starting to get a little bit frustrating, uh, especially when I had such a hot start to the season, won a good few events on the RCR Tour, won, won an event on the TGC Tours. The European Tour was the first event of the year. Um, so I've won my fair share, just looking for a few more, I suppose. Won a couple of weeks ago, actually. At this stage now, it was the Players Championship. That was the last one. Uh, Won that by a couple of shots. Played unbelievable that week, but that's it's kind of been lost since then. Just constantly making sure that everything looks good and it doesn't just look a bit weird or anything. Do, do, do. So I'm also hoping as well that by raising that ground in behind, what I'm going to be able to do is create. Because you can see some of them have it as grass, and then I zoom out and it just all turns to wood. But I'm assuming that's because the ground isn't loaded yet. Um, but I'm hoping by raising the terrain behind it, flattening that out, will definitely give me um, more green on the steps. Just simply because they're actually green in real life, so I just want to keep that going. So we're not doing too bad on the plant meter. I've just been kind of keeping an eye on it. We're nearly two rows in at the moment, and we're still making good progress. There hasn't been too much of a change in it, which is just what I like to see. Um, so if any of you played any good courses out there, if you have, just make sure to pop them in a comment below or in a message or anything like that. I'd love to check them out. Again, like I said, I don't play too many rounds anyway, but if there's always that one out there that you just found was absolutely spectacular, let me know about it because I definitely want to check that one out. I know that there's a new version of Riviera, just I think it was published this morning, which is brilliant to see because the last one that's there, don't get me wrong, absolutely fantastic course and put an awful lot of work and effort into it. Problem is I think just a little bit too much work and effort into it, which then kind of lost everyone on the overall lag, which was a problem. I can imagine on the PC it may have been fine, but um, if you played on a console, it wasn't fun to be honest. So I'm really really glad to see that's back in the game now. Not back in the game, but there's a new one added to it, and that way we can looking forward to testing that out later on, and hopefully bring that back into the season for or into the schedule for next season. Jeez, I can't even talk this evening. I don't know what's wrong with me. Um, so yeah, like this season we had the Genesis Open at Chambers Bay. It wasn't ideal, but it was kind of like a last case, a last minute case really, where I just needed to change it and find something that I suppose not represented Riviera, but just kind of gave a little bit of difficulty to it. I thought there was no better one than Chambers Bay. Good. Okay, we have much further to go on this. 20 more, I'd say. And so, like just like I said earlier, just to let you know for anyone who's logging on here, definitely a relatively rookie designer. Haven't done too much work in it. Have built a few courses. Some I'm rather happy with than others, but like not everything I do is perfect. In fact, far from it. Um, but if you have any tints or hips or tricks or any feedback at all, um, don't be afraid to let me know. Comment below. Um, Simply because it's just going to help me get better and better. I can definitely admit to getting better over the last couple of weeks, especially with the last few attempts I put in. Like Ballybunion was looking very, very good before that bugged out on me. Old Headed Kinsale, by far one of my favourite, and it's already over the 1,000 plays. Um, Plenty of people featuring it in their channels and their videos. Others playing it in their societies. So it's great to just continuously see that, and see that people like it out there. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I urge you to do so. I think it's a fantastic course. Definitely going to be one to, depending on the conditions, it can be one to either reward you massively or just take everything away. You're basically on the cliff. If for any hole that water exists, you're basically on a cliff. Um, there's quite a few of them. Let me see: the second hole, third hole, fourth hole, seventh hole, uh, 12th hole, 13th hole, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So there's quite a substantial amount of holes there where you're pretty much on a cliff edge, going around. So, like I said, if you get the right conditions, it could be a course you could shoot um, double digits under par. If you get that tough wind, I think if you shoot 5 or 6 under par, you've done very, very well for yourself, and um, that's genuine. Absolutely, it's tough, especially with some of those crosswinds out there. Um, when you're not on the flattest of slopes, it's just, yeah, it's very difficult. Then again, there's been scores up there from 14 under so far, so maybe it's just me. That's one thing I've learned over the time frame of building some courses and stuff like that. Is I used to build courses and I used to get really offended, not offended, but I used to just take it to heart that people would shoot these ridiculous scores on my courses and just really, really rip it to shreds, and you're kind of like, well, I'm obviously making them too easy. So then you go and you make it really, really hard and unnecessarily difficult, and and then all you just get is the negative feedback. So it's just it's tough to get the balance right. But one thing I have learned is that it's courses are definitely, like, the more enjoyable it is, the more likely you are to have more players play. It's simple as, like, not everyone plays this game and wants to play the toughest of courses. Um, Most people would rather come on and enjoy their round, and, like, obviously if it's tricky or anything, at least they got to try that out. Okay, so what have we got here? Nope. Okay, so just going to get that last one here. Do, do, do. Yeah, I think we'll just go with that one on the edge there. And okay, let's take a look at how that's looking so far. Um, so there's one step up. Now you probably have this a little too high. I mean, it is 14 feet, and although roughly you're gonna have 10 feet dedicated to that. So I know, I reckon we should be okay. Should be able to bring it down to about here. Have some grass then there. And if we need to add any more on the sides, sure, we can always do that afterwards. There's no harm in doing that. I think once we have the snap in place there, it should be quite easy. So what I'm going to do is just going to hit save on that. Might give you a peek. Excuse me, a little tired at the moment. Just give you a sneak peek of what I've been working on the last couple of days. So that's 17 there. We haven't got anywhere near that. Um, so I suppose we'll start out there at the sixth hole. Actually, I like this. So yeah, just a short par four. I think the short par fours you seem to see quite an awful lot. Actually, screw this. We're going the whole way back. Um, so first hole here, par five as the members play it. Par four as the tour pros play it in roughly that kind of August September time. What we're going to do is, what I'm aiming to do is have both the members and the tours course. So one is going to be a par 72, which is the members course, and then the par 70 is the pros course. So we have the first hole, which is, like I said, par 5 to the members, par 4 to the tour players. Quite a long par 4 then when you think about it, it's about 540 yards. Um, it kind of has that new dimension to it, especially if it's into the wind, because, I suppose if you have no wind, you're talking maybe 310 to 315, maybe hanging down here on the right hand side is a good place to be. You're left then with about 230 into the green. Now 230 on a par 4, that's a tough shot. 230 on a par 5, then you're thinking, right, like birdies at least the worst I should come out with here. But I suppose when you start thinking 230, you have to be really careful with that birdie put back, depending on where you put yourself. But I suppose the saving grace here is the fact that your bunkers really aren't too much of a trek down there, unless again you hit the ball sideways or hit a bit of a slow fast. So second hole here, shorter par 4 for the pros, par 4 for the members, about 448 yards all the way up to the green. So it is an incline, so you're playing uphill for pretty much the whole entire hole. So you'll catch a bit of a flat down here, maybe where it starts to dip down towards the bunker. This is where you're going to find your drives are going to end up. Again, we're talking very little wind there, so in around here, even in a kind of that 155 to 165 range out. Um, Again, into a relatively straightforward green. Um, Again, it's not entirely finished yet, but pretty much slope from the front or from the middle all the way down towards the front, heading in over towards the left in that direction. The back also needs to be just dropped down a little bit, just to make way for that slope to be a little bit more prominent in the middle of the green. Again, not overly well protected. I mean, from 165, if you're missing the screen, I hope it's because you hit a fast or a slow, not because you went that offline. Because it's just, I mean, even if you've got the length, you should be looking at finding the rough and stuff. I can't imagine you'll find the bunker too many times here. So then we take our way back to the third tee box here. So this is played in behind I'm assuming this is just some sort of practice green. I've seen this on there. Maybe it's like a chipping green or something like that. Full of yawns today. Excuse me. So that's there. That's what that is. So third tee shot. Again, not an overly, or I suppose elevated hole as opposed to the first and the second, or the big ups or downslopes and upslopes. So here it's fairly straightforward, a little bit below the tee, the green is. Again, we're going to have more of a background here to the right. But we're hoping we're going to prioritize it, see how it works. We might just go with trees, but for the moment anyway, it's pretty blank out there. Handy par 3, relatively straightforward green. A bit of work to be done here. You can see there's some pathway there that needs tidying up and trees that need to be moved. But overall, I mean, this hole is pretty much completed. The bunkers are in there nicely. I'm very, very happy with those. Just a little bit of tweaking to be done on that green, and maybe a little bit of work in this area just to get those undulations right. And then from an aesthetic point of view, then there's a fence that comes across. So again, it's just a case of, like I said, weighing up the options. See how that plant meter is looking. We might have enough room to squeeze a little fence to go across the front here. So beyond that, then we have the fourth tee, which just slides back in here. Nice and tight there between the second and the third. So the fourth, nice long par 4 again. Not as long as the first, but long enough. Um, so your drive should give you in around here about maybe about 310 to 315 down the middle. That's again playing with very little wind. Usually about that kind of 190 to 195 um, shot in. So again, it's not overly inviting, but again, that green isn't exactly the most difficult green. It's not that firm, so again, most shots should give yourself at least an opportunity to make birdie, but definitely par. Again, here there's a lot of background needs work done. Basically, there's quite a bit to be filled in, but then again, we're still debating whether or not we can afford to fill those in or not. Um, Other than that, the hole I'm pretty happy with. Maybe a little bit more work on the bunkers and some of the surrounding areas. So I sorry, I can't even talk. I know I'm going to need to fill in more trees along here, but that'll also help with the fifth. So the fifth needs a bit of work as well off the tee. So you're going to need some trees in here, a little bit further up here as well, just to mask out that road. We don't need to see all that. And then we're also just going to have this filled out. So this is in between the fifth and sixth holes. So we'll see the sixth in a few moments. But I've literally just put up a guide there, just something to kind of work off as a template in the area beta, and then come back to it later on then and just stick everything in there. So short par four. So this was the first of the short par fours, which is the oh god, I'm yawning again. Short par four, but to be honest, you need driver here. Unless you're playing off the forward tees, you might get away with a forward or a two iron, but off the back's definitely a driver needed. Nicely up the hill, you probably drive up there about 270, 280, which brings you to here. So the reason why you need that driver there is just to give yourself that visibility as a green. Obviously, if you're back here, that shot becomes a little more difficult. Obviously, maybe not there, but then again, depending on that pin position, if you're caught down the right hand side here, best of luck to you, because if you get that close, it's a miracle. So the aim is, like I said, 270, 280, just up here. Give yourself a nice handy chip. Happy enough with the bunkers here. I think the sloping beyond the green needs a bit of work and a bit of tidying up, but um, overall happy with that. So moving on to the sixth. So here we go. We're going to run down the side of the fifth hole again. Just like I said, that needs a bit of filling in. The left hand side here looks pretty tight. I'm happy out with those. Maybe just a little bit of work in the fairway. I think they're maybe just not undulating enough. I know there's a couple of bumps and everything along the downhill slope, so we can work on that. Other than that, though, I'm very very happy with how this is looking. Bunkers maybe could be played with a little bit more, just deepen them, but nothing overly crazy. The green I'm relatively happy with, but I might just want to take another look at that. As you can see, then we have the cabins there below. So those cabins below are facing the eighth green and the ninth tee box. So we're going to see them again in a few minutes. But I really like how they're fitting in at the moment. One of my videos earlier, I was playing a shot from down here, and I think it was just it's kind of that kind of shot there, and it just looked so real. It was so cool to see how it was kind of working in with the environment and stuff. And I suppose even from here, then getting to see down the seventh fairway, I mean, that looks incredibly realistic to me, and I'm really, really liking that. So speaking of the seventh, just slide down the other side of the trees. We're into the open here a bit, away from the foresty area of the course. Um, just sorry, just reading the odd notification that's coming in here as well. So yeah, we're out in the open a little bit. Very little trees in this area. Pretty much that way for the seventh hole and the eighth hole. There isn't a whole pile of trees lying around. Um, Again, like the sixth was about 329, I think it is, to drive the sixth. So it's not really possible unless you've done massive downwind. Seventh then is a drivable par four. So this is the third short par four in a row. So depending on your wind, it is a big green. Unless you're really into the wind, I think this is one to have a go at. Um, it's 280 to clear the front. You're hitting into an upslope again. So like if you bounce the ball in around here, you're just going to hit into that slope and it's just going to hang in around here. So you're going to be left with a relatively decent putt. Now, if you can maybe take a little bit off it and still land it on the green, um, you might get the benefit of that slope there that can help bring the ball down towards the flag. Handy thing though about being up here, just if you're ever aware of it, that the green slopes down, and the minute it hits past this flag, it slopes back up again. So that downhill putt is definitely heavily reduced by having that little bit of breathing space there at the back of that hole. So that's just something to pay attention to. Um, if you don't fancy going for it, maybe it's into the wind on the day you play it, just whack a 2 iron, a hybrid, or maybe even a forward or something like that, depending on the wind. Just stick it down here. You left yourself about 90 yards. So flick of a lob wedge, cut back on a sand wedge a little bit, and you should easily find that green. So we're going to go over here to the, where are we going? Over here to the 8th hole. So very plain Jane type of hole. Again, it's not finished, but it's a very plain Jane type of hole. There's still some bushes and stuff needed to be put in along here. But there's very little trees, very little, much going on here. Cabins in the background there, so that you would have seen them when we were playing the 6th hole. So just not a short par 3 by any means. 178, I think it is, or 179, and all of it. Green isn't exactly easy either, but pretty much a false front there. Drawing off towards the left of the green here. Everything here just falls back towards the front right. And we have your bunker here as well. So if you hit anything right or left, actually, very good chance, short left or long right, very good chance to find yourself into a bunker. So while it doesn't look like the most appealing hole in golf, I actually think it's definitely going to be one of our toughest. And then we've another look back down there in the 7th fairway, and we've our 9th tee box. So par 5, if you're playing the tour course, this is going to be the first par 5 of the round. If you're playing the members, this will be your second. So this is a substantially long hole. You're not reaching it here in 2, no matter how much of a downwind you think you have. Um, it's not going to be reached, sadly. I wish I could say otherwise, but at 656, you need to be hitting your driver nearly 400 yards just to get there, because you've just got upslope after upslope after upslope. So these bunkers here, like I said, you shouldn't really have to worry too much about them, again, unless you've got a bit of a downwind. Everything should kind of fall in around here, maybe that kind of 300 to 305. From there, then it's 352. You're talking about a 3 wood. Wouldn't I wouldn't even try to hit it too hard. Just hit it for placement. So you want to leave yourself about 100 yards out. So hit that thing about 350. But 255 is how far it goes on a tour clubs. Leaving yourself 100 yards. Back smang, middle of the fairway. It's an easy shot in there. The green is not overly difficult. So as long as you don't get too carried away with it, I mean, there's a birdie there. All this behind is going to need to be flattened down a bit to run in line with the rest of the ground there, so that needs a bit of work. Over to the 10th hole. So this is one of my favorite holes in the course. The reason why is simply it's just one that's gonna test whether you want to live on the dark side for a while. What I mean by that basically is there's a bit of trouble down the left hand side. We've a bunker here that I think it should be avoided. I mean, it should be pretty much avoided at all times. I can't imagine too many people are going to be in here. It's I think it's a 230 to reach 245. Sorry, to carry into the start of it. 280 to surpass it. Unless you're hitting into a wind or maybe have an awful crosswind, a driver 3 wood. The driver should take you past it, but a 3 wood might take you in there. Now, obviously, if the wind blowing a little bit behind you, then this comes into play. So we have this lovely big pond here. That's in there about 320 yards, not even, sorry, 315 yards. That, you know, very, very likely to go into. I mean, every time I've tested out this hole so far, my ball's been down here, so it's been in this area. So it is definitely possible that even with a wind behind you, I mean, you could hit that ball down there a long, long way. So be careful of that. Where this pond goes to from here is, I think I was showing to you earlier, it's going to wrap down here in front of the 17th, and then down here to the 13th hole, which we were working on earlier. So on from the 10th, which is here, just take a trip across here to the 11th, another par 3. Um, Not a short one again, over 200 yards. Green below you, about 10 feet down. Again, very, very similar to the 8th, that it looks very plain Jane, but that at that length, uh, and the green again, not overly straightforward. Pretty much everything here falling away to the left hand side. Definitely makes birdie very, very difficult to reach. Um, Par here is definitely key. Just take it back over to the 12th. So this is again another short par 4. So we've had 5, 6, 7, um, 8 par 3, 9 par 5. 10 was another short par 4. It's 400 yards, but again, the way it's playing at the moment, it's 338 to the bottom of the hill. So it's a applicable wedge. It's a very short hole. And here we've another one, 359. 12th hole, it's not one you're ever going to dream about taking on, despite the fact that it's downhill, even if it's downwind. I mean, you're talking about 315 just to reach this pond. And then you got to carry it. So to carry it is 335. I mean, no one's getting 60 extra yards out of their driver, or 50 extra yards out of their driver, um, to land that one down there. So that's just not happening. So the best place here then is go back to that tee. Is simply, I mean, no need to driver here either. Um, Maybe a 3 wood, 255. Poke it out there. Give yourself a shot in. It's pretty much the same as the 5th hole, except for the second shot's playing downhill as opposed to uphill. So it's just making sure you got to clear those trees. Again, you don't want to get tucked in too close here, because you get tucked in too close, that shot could go anywhere. Poke it out here. It's 269 here, so definitely a 3 wood. And then hit a nice handy wedge down to that 12th green. And then boom, we're back to the 13th. So this is just what we've been working on. If you just join in on the video, this is what we're working on at the moment. So this is the 13th Sierre. If you're wondering what in God's name that is at the back, that is our built-in grandstand. That you can see if you go online. You'll be able to check out the photos of the Sierre grandstand on the 13th. From there, then we need to do a lot of work here on 14. Just when we were doing elevations, things got a little bit messy. So you can see there's a lot of sculpting to do there to iron out. 15 is the exact same. 16 not so bad, and then 17 and 18 will just require a little bit of work. 18 is definitely going to need work from the side of slanting that fairway a little bit, because as you'll know, if anyone familiar with the course, it slides from the left down to the right. I'm hoping to also include that area from where Sevi hit the shot. So let me see if we go back here. I think it was about 140 yards. They said it was, but it was so far right that it must have been like here. Now, obviously, this isn't flattened out or to scale or anything, but he basically was down. Wasn't this far down, but he was here, and he had to hit. He hit a wall 7 feet in front of him that was 8 foot high. He had to hit it over that wall, through a gap in the trees, over like a pool, and God knows what else, over 80-foot pine trees that were off in the distance, and he pitched it to the front of the green, which is roughly about here, um, and chipped it in. Now, obviously, the difference between now and then is this is all water here, whereas before it would have just been a fairway into the green there with a bunker here. But now it's plenty of water there, so it's definitely going to make that shot a little bit more difficult. But I have said that before I publish the course, I'm going to come back to that point. So I'm going to try and see if I can pull off that shot. So we're going to have everything input, the pool, the wall, everything is going to be there, and we're going to have some fun trying that shot. Alright, so that's it pretty much for the just the update on how the course is looking at the moment. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to head over to the society and see if I can get that first round underway and hopefully put up a good score. So I'm just going to go down and just take a look at that again. I'm probably going to have to look at this about 1,000 times before I'm happy with it, but that's at least the first two tiers of that built-in grandstand. So we're going to have to work on a few more. It should come out to about here, and then the rest of them I can use for that. The mounds and slopes and everything else that exists there behind the green, and then I'm going to have my stream come in down here into that pond there. So that'll work out nicely. So I'm just going to go ahead and save here and exit out. Okay, so just in case you're wondering, you've been playing in the tour quite a bit as well. I haven't done any Rolex series updates, and I know I've been promising them over the last couple of weeks that I was going to have one soon. I was going to have one soon, but every time I went to do one, something just kept coming up, and this got in the way, and that got in the way. So essentially, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get around to that very, very soon. Hopefully tonight. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna get ready and tee one up. So I've already paid. I have a habit. First thing in the morning, I always go in and make sure to put in my money, so that I know that if I never end up playing in the event, at least I've contributed towards the funds. And 9 times out of 10, I usually play it anyway. So this is there was already a version of Firestone that we used in previous seasons. But I did see that there was a newer one gone in. So this is the Society's first opportunity to play this version of it. Jeez, there's quite a couple of good scores in there already. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to piggyback off Thomas here, just because he's recently joined the Society and seems to have been playing well. I was doing some scores for the RRCC course 3 this morning, and I think he shot like 16 under or something in one of the rounds, which was just absolutely nuts. So I'm going to just join in here and see how he gets on. But yeah, we're also, for anyone who plays on the PC or anything like that, we're also just in the middle of trying to organize integrating PS4 and PC. Like, we're kind of testing things out and seeing how they'll work. So at the moment, we actually do have some just test societies events running on the PC at the moment. It's our Sierre World Tour. It's the exact same name. We just have some test events going on there at the moment. A couple of guys have been checking it out and loving it so far, and loving that they can access our Sierre Tour over on PC, which I've been hoping to do for quite a while. Okay, so it looks pretty similar.
And there you have it, folks. First drive of the event.
First drive of the event. Done. Okay, not a bad way to start out. 299 down the middle. So what have we got here? 77 yards to the pin up 9 feet, so roughly about 80 yards in. I might just take a little bit off this. hope that that's gonna. Okay, not bad.
And this is for birdie.
7 feet away, so not the hardest of putts, but definitely one we need to make. Still isn't that hard as a new witness, so. Boom. Okay,
And
we're
that
under.
putt will drop. And starting the round with
Number
a
2
birdie.
one.
Now let's see what
Okay,
the
this plays.
second
It's
hole
par
has in
5. It's
store.
very short par 5. Can definitely see some differences here. I think it's just the undulations more so than anything else. Definitely way more pronounced in this version as opposed to previous ones gone by. So, too hard. Crazy. Okay, so it's definitely downhill. I always remember you can take it out this way.
It's looking like it's heading into the fairway.
Perfect. I think in it was in last season I put my second shot here in the final round. I was playing absolute like dog rubbish, like so bad in the first 2 rounds. I was so annoyed. I came out, I think I was 4 under through 3 holes or something like that. It was absolutely crazy. Okay, so 172 yards to the pin. Take some off this.
And looks like a 6-iron.
Hope that's going to be enough. Kick on. So maybe a yard or 2 short of being perfect, but look, it's
5 in 2 is
on the
going to
green.
set up some definite eagle possibilities.
I also remember playing this course in a handicap event before. That was a nightmare. I just never seemed to enjoy this course, which is kind of when I saw the second version of it up there. I was like, right, let's try this one and see if I have any better luck with it. So in the practice, I played relatively well when I was testing out the course itself. So let's see how it ties out here. Oh yeah! Was not expecting that to go in. I was just hoping to get that one close. Just get it close. Just.
And let us see.
It's nice.
Third hole has in store.
Okay. Not a third. Okay, I don't like it how straight I'm hitting these.
Well, this one's looking like it's finding the fairway.
That's a bit strange.
From 115 yards out.
Quit my round if this continues, because that's not exactly fair. There we go again.
And this one's looking pretty good. Is on the green. And this putt's for birdie. And just missing.
Too firm.
This putt's about a 2-footer. And that putt will go apart. And after that hole, 3 under on the day.
Let's.
And now we find ourselves at the 4th hole tee off.
That certainly wasn't the plan.
And I can't see him being too pleased about that.
No, I'm not.
He's setting this one up deep.
Not at all. Yikes. Yeah, that's about all I can really do there. Just hit and hope.
Great place to be in the fairway with added bonus of the green being in play now.
Okay, not bad.
We're about 3 feet away here.
Sweet, okay, that's a pair. An unnecessary pair, but
currently sitting
look,
at
it's a
3
pair
under par.
nonetheless. Shouldn't have been in that position after two.
And here we are on the 5th.
Did well though. Did well.
Going with the 4 iron here.
Oh, I forgot to take some yardage off that. It's my own fault. Hopefully that can run back down now. It'd be lovely. Go on. Go on. Oh, yikes. Look at that for a putt.
And this putt's for birdie.
1 foot down. Okay, it's literally just about getting that start on the right-ish line. Oh, no. And that's what you get. That's what you get for like taking your eye off the prize there for a few moments, and I'm gonna have to try and somehow. Okay, got away with luck there. Absolute luck.
Sitting at 3 under.
Don't know if we're gonna have to, or it's gonna at least be able to keep
on to the
keep going on that for the rest of the tournament, or for the rest of the round at least. I mean.
There was some serious power involved in this one.
Okay. It's a fairway hit. Finally. I say finally, it's only been missed one fairway so far, but it's just
from the 150
I don't want holes running out of me. I know some of the guys there shot some crazy under par rounds earlier on, so it's just about making sure that I don't get lost.
The shot's looking pretty good.
Sit. Let's just sit there. Okay, I'm feeling good about the line.
And this putt is for birdie.
I definitely knew I'd stuck myself in a good place there. It's just a case of ramming this one in now. Okay, looks right, straight a little off to the left. Off the left again, you can see there by Thomas's ball that went in. Just moved it a bit. Which is perfect, so that's up to 4 under, I think. Through 5 or 6 holes? Through 6 holes. Again, not bad.
Okay, let's see what the 7th has in store.
Be nice to get a couple more under before the turn there. So we have 3 holes. I'd like to pick up another 2 shots. That's what I feel like I need, for sure. Okay, so 192. Here's the carry. 198 is the start to get there. So I reckon it could be okay.
Looks like
here.
a 5 iron.
Is that not much further than I thought? It did a little bit. It'll be tough to put back, that's for sure.
From 18 feet away.
18 feet, down 4 or 5 inches. You just chipped in. Wow. Okay. So there's not much break, but it's consistent break. Which means just trying to allow for all that.
Just missing here.
Good effort. Can't complain about it. It was a good putt. Just left myself a bit too much to do there.
And tapping it in for the par.
So for the par, it's the 4 under through 7 holes. Need to get another birdie soon, I think. Otherwise we could be on the outside looking in yet again. So I think at least if we can
for this one.
get to 6 under par throughout the punt line, I'd be really, really happy. Then just kind of fire into the back line, try and get that one go again. A couple of early birdies.
$1.15 per pin from here.
I think we could finish strong. So which way are we breaking? Left to right here. Something down 3 feet. wind is there. Okay, wind is there. Wind is there. That should be all over it.
It's going towards the green here. And about 6 feet away. That one goes in to the bird. And after that one, 5 under par for the day. And now the 9th hole. And this drive is just incredibly powerful.
Good one. Okay, so we we got our birdie there, so we got to 5 under through 8. 6 under through 9 is now the next goal. Good tee shot down the middle of the fairway. Left ourselves with 164 up 5 feet, so 166. Definitely want to make sure it carries.
Looks like a 7 iron.
So just making that hit there. Is that going to run up? Go on. Go on. Just one thing I was afraid of was putting myself beyond that pin and giving myself that horrid downhill putt that I had on the 7. Okay, so it's not that tough a putt. It actually even straightens out towards the very end. So there's quite a lot of that break is just the very start of it. Didn't allow enough. Thought it would have been enough, but sadly not. Okay, so we got break here. Slightly up the right. Weird, it went in. It's all that matters. 500 should.
And after that one, currently sitting
bit of work to be done
for the day.
for sure. Tied 27th at the moment, so that's not looking good. I mean, we definitely need. I think we need to. Like, there's some of the guys there that are. Wow, 10 under through 12, 11 under through 15. Got our work cut out for us, that's for sure.
Okay, and the 10th hole.
To think about it, I've only had 3 birdies because one of them was an eagle, so we need to make sure we're picking up the slack now. So, stone to the left hand side, I'm hoping it hangs on. Yep. Perfect. So nice strong slope there. It's quite a slope.
Looks like this could have a bit too much club on it.
I'm hoping that puts itself into a relatively flat.
And I think that one will play on the green. This putt's for birdie. Ooh, that was very close.
Burnt another edge again. Can't have too many more then.
4 feet?
Really, really can't.
And that one will drop.
Okay, so need to go a bit birdie mad now.
For the day. And moving on to the 11th hole.
It's not that tough a course.
And there's a long bomb, folks. Look at that.
Oh. Perfectly down the middle. Shouldn't be that difficult a shot in. Anything down there with 130
yards to the pin.
Less. Like, they need to be going close. Should be good.
Yeah, this could be long.
Spin.
I think that'll play on the green.
Okay, we got away with it.
This putt is for birdie.
Didn't like where that was. Okay, it says there's a break in it, but I don't see it. I don't see it. It's not there. And it wasn't.
Finishing the hole with a solid putt.
Solid putt there. So it's another birdie.
On the day.
600 to 11, I think. Yeah. So still in the top 25 at the moment. Need to kind of crack into that. That top 10. We need to start making a move on that fast. So we've got 172, 14 to 178. Wind off the left.
Going with the 6 iron.
I'm hoping is the wind off the left. So how will come in off the slope? Just like oh, that's what I was planning for. Not what I didn't expect to hold it, but at least to get it close.
Very close.
That was very close. What I was doing was the wind to counteract the slope a bit, push the ball out to the right hand side, and it'll trickle down. Got the birdie. That's the most important thing. That's what I was planning to do. Just to make sure that I get my birdies.
That's 7 under par for the day.
So we're 7 under. Still not inside the top 20 yet. A couple more shots to pick up, as you can see there. Two guys, Vodka 9 and Hippie Stein, 14 under. Eddie, who we're playing, or Thomas, I should say, Eddie Vedder, 13 under. Dave Priest, 13 under. Kelly Johnson, 13 under. GW Hope, I can't remember your name, I think it's John, 13 under. We Like It Rough NC, 12 under. George, 11 under. North, 47. It's 10 under through 15. I mean, that's a fantastic round, and I'm actually really glad to see Steve playing.
All right, let's see what
playing really well again, because that guy can play, and he's just had some really, really bad bounces lately. So here's hoping that this is a return to form for him. Oh wow. So just made it run with 2 nice birdies, and okay, we're in the light off at least.
And he's probably not too happy about that one.
No, I'm not too happy. Not too happy at all, John McCarthy. 84 to 94, 169 out, but 167 falls front into that breeze. Looks good. Is it good? Go on. Up that front. Up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Ah. That was so close to being so perfect.
And that one's going to miss the green.
But not today. Okay. Okay. We'll take our par there. We kind of deserve that for that tee shot.
3 feet away.
Again, we're still under pressure though. We need birdies. We need them fast. And they're just not coming fast enough today.
7 under par for the
which has
day.
pretty much been the
and now setting up for the par 4.
The main point of an awful of my rounds lately. So we've got 14, 15, 5 holes left, 3 birdies. That's all I want. 3 birdies. Get to minus 10. 5 under each side. I'll take that. So nicely just tucked it down the left hand side. Just trying to open up that green a little bit. It's definitely a nice position to be in.
And nothing wrong with that shot.
Still have to come up over that bunker, but
yards out.
again, it's a slightly nicer angle to get in at it. Pin halfway up the green, but 146, playing about 147. Wind behind the screen, tilting off to the right. I'm thinking it's a little bit de-loft and hit that.
Going with the 9 iron here.
Needs to get a little bit right though.
And he's on the green.
Okay, not bad.
And this for the birdie.
putt that's holeable. We've missed a few of these today now, so this would be a good time to get one back. Okay, so we've got. There we go. Well
Nice
done.
putt there. And after that hole, currently sitting at 8 under.
Okay, and we're still outside the top 20. Okay, so it's obviously 10 under par is what's going to be needed to even have a chance of creeping in there. So
Moving on to the 15th.
got our work done. 4 holes to go. Need to pick up 2 shots. 197 in here into a 9-mile-an-hour wind. 205 I think is what we're going to hit here. I'm just going to knock that up in the air a little bit.
And this is 4 iron.
Sit. Oh, so close! That's the second par 3. And I think it's the second par 3 in a row. Now we've left ourselves with the toughest of putts now.
And that one is on the green with quite a bit of real estate to make up on that next putt.
I'm going to have to figure something out. Okay, break off to the left to the right at the start, which then straightens out and turns into a right to left all the way back. Get in! Get in! What a putt! What a putt! It's not, again, another one of those shots that you're just not expecting to hold. Wow. Wow, that was well needed. 3 holes to go. I mean, if we can push past 10 under par here, that would be absolutely smashing. That would. So we're just going to try and keep a level head now. We've got a par 5 coming up, so no heroics here. Let's try and get out with our birdie and move it on to the next hole. But yeah, wow, needed that putt big time. Okay, so what have we got? 2. That's perfect. Just knock this one. So didn't need anything too exotic or anything like that. Just a nice handy shot down there. Hope we try to leave ourselves in the run that. I was hoping to leave myself a little bit more than that. Doing just isn't so. Oh no, that should have been better than that. That should have been way better than that. Wow.
Nice putts for birdie.
This hole is about getting that birdie and trying to guarantee a birdie here so we can make the last 2 holes a little bit of fun and try to get to 11 under par. Still have a chance though. I mean, we've made some good putts today. Some ones less likely than others to go in. So we've just got a bit of work cut out for us here now. So trying to see. So what I'm trying to do is visualize the line on that. Because I know. Ah!
Ooh, that
didn't hit it. Didn't hit it. Thought we were good for a while, but just no. Okay, that's disappointing now. That's after making that good putt on
sitting at 9 under par. Okay,
on 15. It kind of
17th now.
Takes a bit of a sting there. That is. So. Oh, now what have we done? Come on, kick right. Kick right.
And I'm gonna guess he's not that happy about that.
No,
shot.
not that happy, John. Not that happy. What if? Oh, what's going on? Okay, so we're just gonna go with the. I think we'll go with the bob wedge here.
And that approach has found the green, but there will be a lot of work to do to sink the next putt.
It's going to have to go to the green. Oh, me and you, Firestone, we don't get along.
I think you could just chalk that up to bad luck. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. Oh, that's too bad. Just goes up in there. And now let's take a look at the leaderboard.
Okay, first drop
Sitting
shot.
at
Things
8
went a bit
under
quiet
after that one for the day.
there. Wasn't happy about that. Definitely not. I mean, it's
And now, teeing up
what we're
for
looking
the
for is
final hole of the round.
a good performance this tournament, and even out of the top 10, big time. Just to kind of get stuff going again, and at the moment it's not looking like it.
I think you'll like it.
Nice drive again, but
And about 140
we
yards
really
to go.
needed them. The shots just weren't there. Ones that we should be making. So 142 to 140. They should just push that a little bit back. The wind have that. Kind of slow. It's alright.
And he is on. This next putt for a final round score of 61.
Again, another one of those that just pulls.
Just doesn't drop.
No, not overly enthused about that performance. A couple of pairs early on, I think that should have been that should have made birdies, or at least old me would have made into some birdies.
As always, we will see you next time.
We'll just take a look at the scorecard there. So started really well, birdie eagle, then ran on a stretch of 3 pairs. I think at least a birdie should have came out of there. Made two birdies to close out. So 5 under, was only 1 shot behind Thomas there at the time. Then started again, par, where I should have had a birdie. 2 more birdies followed up again. 13, can't really say too much about it. I think I fully deserved that par there. 2 birdies again to follow up. Is that really unlikely one on 15. Didn't expect that one to go in. 16, nightmare, shouldn't have happened. Then obviously wasn't too enthused with it on the 17 tee. Pulled it left into the rough, and then just left myself an awkward yardage with an awkward putt then to follow up, and ran off the front of the green, couldn't hold the chip, and I suppose that's kind of how it goes really. Closed in with 3 under on the back 9, so -8. I suppose when you look back at previous rounds around Firestone, it's actually not a bad score for me. But at the same time, when the leader's 6 shots ahead of you after the first round, you know you've got your work cut out for you. Especially when an awful lot of the guys are out there shooting some great numbers as well. So guys, thanks very much for tuning in. I'm going to log off now. So you've got to take a look at the at Sierre at the start of the video, just got to see how I'm working along with that, and then also a little bit of gameplay there. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and like I said, any comments or anything like that, just throw them in below, and I'm happy to have any feedback you've got. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye.